This is the Angel of Death. We are at Shiloh Cemetery in Leeds, Alabama. Here to say if it's haunted or not. Obviously, one of the oldest cemeteries in the Leeds area. So we're taking a look around, looking at the cemetery. Also, the church behind me. Not allowed in it, of course. But we are getting shots that we can through the windows. We're also going to walk through the cemetery as well. Now this is inside of the old church. We're looking through one of the windows. We are not inside. Here is another room inside the old church. Now we are once again right outside of a window, but this window actually has cold air like flowing through it. Almost feels like an air conditioner is running inside. Like, this is August, so it's naturally hot as hell right now, but
98 degrees right now.
98 degrees, but it feels like air conditioning is running through this place with no power.
No wind.
And it's actually cold right here, sitting outside this window.
Yeah, it's a cold draft.
We are about to walk through the actual cemetery. Right now we are simply walking beside what was the old church. A lot of the windows are boarded off. Of course, the whole place is locked down. My wife is actually over there at the window that feels like cold air is just flowing through it right now. And obviously there's no power to this place, so that makes it pretty weird. Staircase going up to the windows. We're actually right at the front of the church, which has been here since like 1976 or 75. It's definitely a lot older than some of the other churches in the area. Of course, it is shut down. We're not allowed inside, of course. Like I mentioned, a lot of the windows are boarded up. As you can see, it's a nice old place. I'd love to get inside, but we're just doing some more shots here of the building itself. Got old school windows here. Old school doors. See some lighting in it. I would have loved permission to actually have been able to go inside of it. It looks extremely cool. Like I said, you feel the cold draft from inside of it coming out, but we weren't allowed inside, of course. So we're about to walk through the cemetery again. Now, this is one of the oldest cemeteries in the Leeds area. A lot of Confederate soldiers have actually been put to rest here. From comparison of my last spot that we visited, this one is extremely taken care of compared to the last one. Some graves start from the 1800s, and I believe, I can't exactly remember the last date that someone was buried at this one, but this one is right off the main street here. Houses have this as a backyard. The church itself is right here behind us, actually in front of it. The cemetery itself seems to be just an average little cemetery. Nothing creepy about it. No weird feelings. So far, nothing has caught my eye at all. Now, the church itself had a weird, cold feeling from it. Just like any old cemetery, you see a little bit of vandalism, but not too bad. We're being quiet currently because we heard talking, but we don't hear it now. So far, nothing out of the way. We actually had a couple people come up and come visit some graves here, so it's definitely a little bit more public than the last one we looked at. (1920), 1919, 1904, died in the war, Margaret. Now, according to online, a lot of the older graves are farther away from the church. Of course, online is technically not correct because it said that the last burial was 2006, but we've already seen one later than that. So you can't trust the internet all the time, like I've mentioned before. This headstone's actually cracked all the way through. I would love to be able to get into that church. Now, back in the 1800s, that was said that before this was actually Leeds, this would be the area that they would come and stop between Montevallo and Asheville to drink water in the little stream behind me. Now, still here. This is just a little bit to the left of the cemetery and church. That's actually up the hill, so we had to climb down here to get to this location. All right, we're walking back now from the stream here. Get back to the cemetery, Shiloh Cemetery here. I'm actually down in this. Okay, that was weird. I'm gonna watch that when I get home. I actually thought I seen someone in a red shirt behind me. Maybe that was just something random in the background that I just seen. Okay, so now we're back. So when the cemetery is that way, you look straight behind, and that's the stream behind us. So our first initial walk through, didn't feel nothing through the cemetery. Well upkeep, very little vandalism. It's the church itself that puts off the creepy vibe here. Now, once I get home, all this footage is raw, no editing, but I swear to God I seen something behind me when I was at the creek. I haven't watched it yet. I'm not going to watch it till I get home. And if there's nothing on there, then I'm just seeing shit. So we're going to do one final walk through on the cemetery, Shiloh itself. Didn't feel or get a vibe on the way through the first time. So I'm just going to give it one nice once over again, so we can get a feel for the cemetery. And then we'll be on our way. I'll review the footage when I get home, of course, and pretty much upload it as is. Like I said, this is right off the road. So, you know, township right over there, place. I've watched one video about Shiloh. It was actually describing one of these tombs over here having a gap where you can almost look down into it. You can look under there. Broken concrete. Like I said, the only weird vibes I got was from the old church itself, which is putting off mighty nice cold air, to tell you the truth, with no power going through it. That's weird, as it is. Nice old cemetery. For the age of it, the upkeep looks great. Confederate soldiers supposedly buried here. A lot of the older headstones are actually wore down, so you really can't read them. This is a couple of them. You can barely catch any of the words on there. Can't even see the dates on them. They're so old. Now, if you were watching this, thank you, of course. Look in the comments for an alternative camera, which is my wife, of course, on her own channel. And if you like, go subscribe to her channel. It may not be up immediately on my comments, but keep an eye out for it. And of course, if you see anything while watching this, let me know, especially the time frame, and I can go back and review it as well. This was a photograph that my wife caught through the window. To the left, you see a dark shadow in the hallway. Circled, it almost looks like a little girl shadow. Like right now, I'm literally sitting in the windows of the church. This is a broken window. It actually feels like air conditioning coming through the window. Obviously, there's no power in here. This is the best part of this visit so far. And you see nothing is in here. It's nice and cold. But that's literally about it. Broken windows, old foundation. I absolutely love the church being in the background. It looks so awesome. But when it comes down to is Shiloh Cemetery haunted, I didn't feel nothing today. Nothing out of the ordinary. I think the church is awesome. You do get a weird cold vibe from the church, just from the outside, of course. It'd be awesome to be able to get in there, but obviously it's no trespassing in there, so we obey the law. So we filmed through the windows that we could, and I say Shiloh, not haunted.